The dream: buy a cinema, show the films people love, charge for popcorn, collect the margin. In September 2022, the world's second-largest cinema chain, 9,500 screens, 10 countries, 28,000 employees, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with $8.9 billion in total debt. The company was Cineworld, which had bought the Regal Cinemas network for $3.6 billion 5 years earlier. Here is what this business actually costs in full. Leasing a suitable commercial space runs $15,000 to $40,000 per month. A 10-screen multiplex occupies 40,000 to 60,000 square feet. At $25 per square foot annually, that is $1 million to $1.5 million per year in rent before any renovation begins. Showing Hollywood releases requires DCI-compliant digital projectors, the standard mandated by studios. A 2K DCI projector costs $35,000 to $65,000 per screen. A 4K laser projector, now the expected baseline at any premium venue, runs $60,000 to over $100,000. Professional 7.1 surround sound adds $20,000 to $50,000 per auditorium. On a 10-screen build, projection and sound equipment alone runs $500,000 to $1.5 million. Premium electric recliners cost $600 to $1,200 per seat. A 400-seat auditorium at mid-range requires $240,000 to $480,000. Across 10 screens, seating reaches $2.4 to $4.8 million. Build-out: acoustic treatment, tiered floors, HVAC, electrical, fire suppression, runs $200 to $400 per square foot. A 50,000 square foot facility generates $10 to $20 million in construction cost. Licensing and compliance add $20,000 to $60,000 in initial fees. Total entry capital for a 10-screen multiplex in 2025, $20 to $25 million before the first ticket is sold. Film rental is the defining cost. When a cinema sells a $12 ticket, it does not keep $12. The studio takes a contractual cut, front-loaded in the most profitable opening weeks. For a major blockbuster, the studio claims 60 to 70% of box office receipts on opening weekend. Averaged across the full run, the rate settles near 52%. Regal Entertainment 10K filing shows film rental payments of $953.7 million on $1,842.6 million in box office, a 51.8% effective rate. The cinema keeps roughly half of every ticket. Labor is the second major fixed cost. A 10-screen facility needs 25 to 40 employees per shift across multiple shifts. Annual payroll runs $1.2 to $2 million. Utilities for an 18-hour-per-day operation run $150,000 to $350,000 annually. Projector maintenance contracts add $30,000 to $80,000 per year. The lease runs $1 million to $1.5 million annually. Insurance and marketing add $200,000 to $400,000 per year. Annual operating cost before concession cost of goods, approximately $4,800,000. That bill runs every month regardless of what is on screen. A 10-screen cinema at 20% average occupancy fills 80 seats per show. At $12 per ticket across 4 shows per screen per day, daily ticket revenue is $38,400. Annual gross box office, $14 million. After film rental at 52%, the cinema retains $6,720,000. That number does not cover the operating stack. This is the structural problem the business model was built to solve. The solution is concession margins. The gross margin on food and beverage is 80 to 90%. A bucket of popcorn costing under $1 sells for $11 or more. Cinemark fiscal year 2024 results reported an all-time high domestic concession per cap of $7.89. At 20% occupancy across 10 screens, annual concession gross profit at $8 per patron, and 85% margin, approximately $8 million. Combined retained admissions and concession gross profit, $14,700,000, against $4,800,000 in costs. Industry operating margin in 2024, per Statistics Canada, 7.9%. One bad quarter eliminates the year. A 7.9% margin assumes attendance holds steady. The industry's single biggest external variable has been compressing attendance for a decade, and it accelerated precisely when cinemas could not fight back. In 2019, the U.S. domestic box office sold 1.23 billion tickets and generated $11.4 billion. In 2024, it sold 760 million tickets and generated $8.6 billion. That is a 37% decline in ticket volume. partially masked by a 40% increase in average ticket prices. PwC 2025 Entertainment Outlook Projects. U.S. total cinema revenue will not return to pre-pandemic levels before 2030. The firm forecasts the domestic box office at $10.8 billion by 2029, against $11.7 billion in 2019. Admissions volume is not expected to recover within the forecast window. The mechanism is structural. Streaming services produced a 25% decline in youth cinema attendance between 2015 and 2019, before the pandemic. Post-pandemic, studios compressed what was a 90-day exclusive theatrical window to 17 to 31 days. A shorter window reduces urgency. If a film reaches your streaming service in 3 weeks, the behavioral calculus shifts. Each percentage point of attendance lost is not a percentage point of cost saved. The lease does not adjust. The projectors run regardless of occupancy. AMC 2023 attendance was 66% of 2019 levels, running against approximately the same fixed cost base. One company tried to build a global cinema empire at the exact moment this structural decline was accelerating. It paid for that ambitious bet with the largest bankruptcy in cinema industry history. Cineworld was founded in London in 1995. In 2017, it made its defining move, the $3.6 billion acquisition of Regal Entertainment Group, the second-largest U.S. cinema chain with over 500 theaters across 42 states. The deal made Cineworld the world's second-largest operator with 9,500 screens across 10 countries. It was funded primarily with debt and acquired at the top of the pre-pandemic attendance cycle, entering 2020 with $4.8 billion in net debt, excluding lease liabilities, $8.9 billion including them. Cineworld had built a capital structure requiring consistent attendance growth. The pandemic shuttered every screen in every country simultaneously. Revenue collapsed while fixed obligations continued. When cinemas reopened in 2021, the recovery was slower than the debt structure could accommodate. By August 2022, Cineworld warned a limited blockbuster slate would suppress admissions through year-end. Shares fell to 1.8 pence from near 300, a 99% destruction of market value. On September 7, 2022, Cineworld filed for Chapter 11 with $8.9 billion in total debt. Market capitalization at filing, $68 million. This was not mismanagement. It was a debt structure built on pre-pandemic assumptions, then exposed to the one event no leveraged model survives. A cinema operator controls none of the content that drives its revenue. A 10-screen cinema budgets Q2 on 2 major releases. Both shift to Q4. Occupancy falls from 20% to 12%. Quarterly box office drops from $3 million to $1.8 million. After film rental at 52%, retained admissions, $864,000. Quarterly operating costs, $1,210,000. Quarterly loss, $346,000. On a quarter where nothing broke and every operational decision was correct, the loss came entirely from the studio release calendar. In 2022, Hollywood produced fewer major releases than any year since the early 2000s. Pandemic disruptions and the subsequent writers' and actors' strikes both played a role. Cineworld cited the limited film slate as a primary cause of its 2022 liquidity crisis. Not its operating decisions, but the output of an industry it cannot influence. In October 2024, the U.S. and Canadian box office generated $445 million, the lowest monthly total on record outside pandemic closures. There is another cost accelerating faster than film rental and faster than all labor, one that grows every year regardless of what the studios release. When digital cinema replaced film projection in the late 2000s, studios funded the transition through virtual print fees, per-screening payments from distributors to exhibitors. Those programs ran until approximately 2012 to 2015 and are now exhausted. All equipment cost falls on the operator. A 2K DCI projector installed in 2012 is 13 years old in a category now expecting 4K laser. The 8 largest chains pledged $2.2 billion over 3 years at CinemaCon in April 2025 for theater modernization. AMC alone announced a $1 to $1.5 billion renovation program called the Go Plan. A 4K laser projector installation runs $75,000 to $125,000 per screen. Across 10 screens, a full upgrade requires $750,000 to $1.25 million in capital, in addition to the operating stack, with a 10 to 15-year useful life requiring the same cycle to repeat. This does not appear in monthly budgets. It accumulates quietly until a competitor upgrades and the quality gap shows in attendance data. If the capital structure cannot absorb it, this can end the business in a single investment cycle. Scale improves specific things. Large chains negotiate film rental at the chain level, producing slightly more favorable splits than a single-site operator achieves. They access studio marketing co-op funding unavailable to independents. Equipment purchasing at volume reduces per-screen capital cost 10 to 20%. A 500-theater chain distributes technology upgrades across a multi-year program rather than absorbing them in a single event. What gets harder at scale? The fixed cost base becomes immovable. A chain with long-term leases across hundreds of locations cannot reduce its footprint in a bad quarter without triggering early termination fees equal to 1 to 2 years of remaining payments. Cineworld lease liabilities alone were $4.1 billion of its $8.9 billion in total debt. Obligations built through aggressive expansion that became structural weight the business could not carry when attendance fell. At a certain size, a cinema chain is a global media and real estate business that also shows films. The optimistic scenario. Assume a 10-screen cinema in a suburban market with no competitor within 8 miles. Attendance at 22% average occupancy. Gross annual box office, $15.4 million. Retained admissions after 51% film rental, $7,546,000. Concession gross profit at $8.50 per patron and 85% margin, $8,823,000. Total gross against operating costs of $5,200,000. Net operating income, $11,169,000. The realistic scenario. Now add 3 non-exotic events. A major studio delays its 2 highest anticipated summer releases to Q4, cutting Q2 and Q3 gross box office by 25%. A compressor failure in August costs $400,000 in emergency HVAC replacement. A slip and fall produces a liability claim costing $200,000 over 18 months. Net operating income falls from $11,169,000 to $5,400,000. Less than half the optimistic case. The difference is a studio scheduling decision, a mechanical failure, and 1 wet floor. None of these are exotic disasters. All 3 happen to someone in this industry every week. The industry operating profit margin was 7.9% in 2024, down from 16.2% in 2018. That is not a bad year. It is the new structural baseline after double compression from streaming penetration and post-pandemic attendance normalization. The primary cause of cinema closure right now is not poor floor management. It is a cost structure, particularly lease obligations and equipment debt, that cannot survive the attendance compression the industry is absorbing overall. Surviving operators share 5 observable habits. First, they own or control their real estate. A fixed, long-term ground lease at $500,000 annually is more resilient than a commercial lease at $2 million. Same screens, same films, different financial durability. Second, they diversify revenue. Private event rental, live event cinema, and dine-in formats each add revenue at near zero incremental cost. Alamo Drafthouse, acquired by Sony Pictures Entertainment in June 2024, built its model on this premise. Third, they finance equipment upgrades with dedicated equipment debt, preventing a single technology cycle from creating a cash crisis. Fourth, they flex staffing weekly from actual attendance data. Labor is the only large variable cost that responds to real conditions. Fifth, they hold a cash reserve equal to 3 full months of fixed operating costs before counting any box office revenue. That reserve separates a bad quarter from permanent closure. The dream was a room, a projector, Hollywood content, and a margin on the popcorn. What the numbers show is a business where the world's second-largest operator filed for bankruptcy with $8.9 billion in total debt, where the entire industry earns 7.9% in a recovery year, where the studio takes roughly half of every ticket before the cinema covers a single fixed cost, where admissions are 37% below 2019 and not forecast to recover before 2030. The cinema is not dying, but owning one well enough to profit is a completely different problem. If you want the breakdown of which cinema formats are generating positive returns right now, and why dine-in and premium format operators are expanding while everyone else consolidates, that video is here. Subscribe if this kind of forensic breakdown is useful.